Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. Welcome to my Friday Frolics. I'm Gayle Thompson, for those of you that have never seen this before. I thought I'd just start this time by just telling you a little bit about myself. I have been a polymer clay artist since the year 2000 when I moved to Florida to keep a job. I'm originally from Virginia, and that's where I am now. But I moved to Florida to keep a job. All of my family was here in Virginia. And I started watching shows on TV that I had never watched before, one of them being the Carol Duvall show, because I've always been a crafty person. I've always done something crafty. And the very first episode that I watched had Donna Cato on there. And I went, oh, wow, what is she doing? And I forgot what it was she was making. I was just so flabbergasted by it that I watched what I was doing. I worked, Carol Duvall came on during the week. And when I discovered it, it was when I first moved there. So when I went to work, I would record it. And then on weekends or in the evenings, I would watch a couple of episodes at a time, to stay caught up. So the first episode I watched had Donna Cato on it. That's when I decided to start recording it. And then the very next one I watched had Lisa Pavelka on there. And I thought, that looks like something I could do. Because as much as I enjoy crafting, I don't enjoy doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. I used to do counted cross stitch until it became the thing to do. And I said, I don't want to do it if everybody else is doing it. I used to knit and crochet. I still do occasionally, but not very often. I carved goose eggs. I covered goose eggs with designed paper, whether it be wrapping paper or whatever pretty designed paper I could find, and then I would cut it out with a Dremel tool, which is how I got my first Dremel. And, used to, sell those. What else have I done? Oh, goodness, I've done a little bit of everything. I've dabbled in a lot. I've tried painting several times. While I was in Florida, the Donna Dewberry one-stroke painting workshop it's located in Orlando. So I made an appointment and I attended a class. And it looks very simple, but I couldn't even do the one stroke. I don't know if it's because I have a heavy hand or what, but I've just not been able to accomplish much of any kind of painting except maybe antiquing or painting a box or whatever. I can do that, but I can't paint anything. But I went out and bought some polymer clay and sat down and decided of all things, I was going to make fairies. So I made these little itty-bitty little fairies. And of course, they didn't turn out. It was my first project. You don't want to start out your first project making something like fairies. But I didn't want to start off making just basic beads. It just didn't interest me. So I started looking for magazines that had polymer clay in them. And there were a couple, but not many. But Polymer Cafe had just started publication, and I think it was them. It might have been another magazine. But anyway, whatever magazine it was, there was a list of polymer clay guilds in the United States. And there listed one for Orlando, and it gave me an email address. So I emailed that person, and her name was Mary Jenkins. And she told me that the month before had been their very first meeting. And they had two people, her and the girl that owned the shop where we were having our guild meeting. And that the next one was like the next Saturday or something. So I went to the second meeting of the Orlando Area Polymer Clay Guild. There were 8 of us at that meeting. And we all just finding something in common. We just really had a great, fun time. So that was my first experience. Not too long after that, the guild over in the St. Petersburg area was having a clay workshop by none other than Donna Cato. And I would have died to meet Donna Cato, since she's the one that started me on this journey. So we went over there and took her class, and Donna's just such a friendly, sweet person. I love her to death. So it was a 2-day workshop, so we had a good time there. That's how I learned to make her feather cane. And then after that, Donna said she would like to come back to Florida every year if possible. So we thought between the St. Petersburg Guild, the Ocala Guild, and the Orlando Guild, we would alternate having her in. So the next year she came to the Ocala Guild. And then when it was our turn to do the Donna Cato workshop, the annual Donna Cato workshop, she suggested that we find a venue where we could have more than one artist. She says, you're all going to be tired of seeing the same thing from me year after year. So we decided to find a place, which we did, at Lake Yale, and it's a church retreat grounds right on Lake Yale. So they have excellent facilities. So that year she brought Judy Belcher and Leslie Blackford, and we did 3 days of workshops, and the students all were assigned. When you got there, you found yourself a seat. There were 3 classrooms, and what we decided to do is for the 20 of us that were in the classroom, each classroom, to stay where we were, and the teachers would rotate. So at the end of the day, Donna would pack up her stuff and move it to the other classroom, and then maybe Judy Belcher would come in. And then so the next day we just went in and sat down, and there was Judy Belcher. And then the day after that, it was probably Leslie Blackford. And it was just so much fun. So that started what is now known as Fandango. We used to call it Florida in February, but one year we couldn't get the grounds in February, so we had to change it to March. So we had to find a new name, so we came up with Fandango. So it's still known as Fandango. And if you ever get a chance to go, it's usually in March or April, early spring, when it's still beautiful in Florida and maybe the weather's not so great where you live. It's an awesome place to go. You can look at their website. I think it's oapcguild.org. I think it's OAPC, and then they spell out Guild. But it's Orlando Area Polymer Clay Guild, if you want to Google it. But that started my journey. We had so many people come to Florida. It was one good thing about living in Florida. It wasn't difficult to get the artists to come down there because the weather was always nice. But we had Lynn Schwarzenberg. We had Marla Frankenberg. We've had, just doing individual workshops. And then, of course, we had the Fandango. But we would have at least 2 artist workshops every year. And it was awesome. And that's how I learned so much about polymer clay. I have learned under some of the most fantastic artists in the polymer clay world. And I'm so fortunate. And anyway, I stayed with the guild. I joined the National Polymer Clay Guild. Eventually, I was nominated to be on the board of directors. So I served on the board of directors for 1 full term, which was 2 years. And then the second term, I was reelected. But at about the middle of my term, my mother came to visit me and became ill, and it just totally took over my life. So the last half of my term, I struggled through it and just tried to do the best I could, but it just was too much for me. I just couldn't do it. And so I had to drop off the board, but I still stay, in touch with all of the people. In the meantime, they've changed it from National Polymer Clay Guild to the International Polymer Clay Association, which is IPCA. So, because polymer clay branched out. It wasn't just in the United States anymore. It was everywhere. Carol Blackburn was a student at our Fandangos, if you can believe that, and now she's holding workshops of her own. She's just fantastic. And it's just so nice that I've gotten to meet these people in person. And So when I'm mentioning names, it's not because I'm trying to be a name dropper and let you know how many people I know. It's because I want you to know where I learned a certain technique, or I just don't want to claim it for my own, because everybody has to learn from somebody, unless you're creative and just sit down and teach yourself. But then if you look around, even the things you create yourself sometimes have already been done by somebody else. So I don't want to let anybody think that I've invented these terms or these tips. I just wanted you to know that that's where I got them. But that is kind of my background in polymer clay and how I obtained the knowledge that I have. I was out of the polymer clay world for a couple of years as I cared for my mother. I just couldn't do both. And so then when I lost her and came back, I came back to Virginia, and then we lost her. I started looking for inspiration. I needed to get back into my polymer clay, and I thought, how can I do that? And somebody suggested that I go to YouTube. So I went to YouTube and I looked up polymer clay, and I started watching people, and a lot of them were people that I already knew. And then there were some new people, which I was so glad to see. Monica Resta, who is Bow Clay, she was not on the scene when I, started, or at least if she was only in Spain. We didn't know about her here in the U.S., but YouTube has changed everything. And all the things that I used to have to pay like $250 to go to one of these workshops, and now you're getting some of the same training for free. It may not all be at one time. I might not sit down and do an all-day workshop with you, but if you go through my videos, there's some money there that you save by watching my free videos. And I think that's why I've gotten some people upset, because I don't charge for my videos. The only videos that I make, and it's not that I charge, it's the people that contribute $10 a month to me on Patreon. I do a Patreon reward tutorial. I'm working on one now, so patrons, be patient. This one is a little bit more complicated than the others, and I say by that I just mean it's taking me longer just to get to the point where I can get started, because there's so many steps that have to be done. And you'll understand when you see the project, but it's going to be a fun one. And once I get everything together and get, it involves painting something, and, I've got that about half done, but I'll be working on that during the next week, and hopefully it will be up real soon. But, that's kind of where I am. I found polymer clay again, found my spark on YouTube, and was watching Sarah Evans, my Serenity Crafts, and some of you follow Sarah because she's the sweetest thing. I really like her, and she's from New Jersey, and she's got that New Jersey attitude and swagger. I just love her. And she was working on some polymer clay tiles and kept saying things like, I wish I knew how to do this better, or I don't know what I'm doing when I'm doing this. So I would just send a little comment, next time, why don't you try this? And so she and I got to communicating back and forth. And then she said, Gayle, you need to be doing polymer clay videos on YouTube. And I went, not me. I am not going to be doing any polymer clay videos. So here I am. It'll be 2 years in May. May the 19th of 2016 is when I posted my first video, and it wasn't even a tutorial. It was just showing something that I had made for my daughter-in-law, who is still suffering from breast cancer. She's still fighting it. But I had made her a gift, and I wanted to put it in a really nice box. And I had a wooden cigar box, so I made inspirational tiles and covered the top of the cigar box with these tiles, and the rest of it was painted copper. She's an autumn person. She loves the fall colors. And it turned out really great. I loved it. And so I showed that, and then I started doing simple little tutorials. So if you're ever stuck in the house on a rainy day or whatever, go back to the very beginning, to my very first video. It's going to be in May of 2016. and just start watching and see how I've evolved and gotten better, hopefully, in my videos than I did before. But it's been quite a journey, and I'm still learning. And of course, my next step is to get like studio lighting so I can have better lighting on my projects. And I just haven't had the extra money for that yet. Maybe with, I just got my Patreon payment for this month yesterday. So I haven't decided what I was going to do with it yet, but maybe I'll order some lights. Maybe that would be the thing. What I need to do is order some lights, and then I'll have better lighting when I do my projects. And that's my big challenge right now is lighting in addition to space. And I'm working on that. But anyway, it's been a great week. Not weather-wise. It's been a terrible weather week. We've had terrible winds, trees down, power out. Really bad. That was the first nor'easter that came through. The second one, which came through yesterday, kind of missed us. It went north of us, and the Northeast got it instead of Virginia, which I'm sorry for them, but I'm glad for us. And then there's another one coming through Sunday night into Monday, so there's no telling. Some of the models are showing it goes east of us, and some models are showing it's going to come right over top of us. So I guess until Sunday we won't know. But I'm so ready for spring. But I do have my video for Monday filmed, and I've almost got it all edited. I'm going to finish it as soon as I finish this video and get that uploaded, so that'll be there for you on Monday. My dog, Fort Dix, I think he's getting better. He's lonesome and grieving because he's lost both of his girls, and now he's an only dog at 12 years old, and it's the first time in his life he's not been around other dogs. And he's been struggling, but he's doing better. He's beginning to eat a little bit better. He seems to be a little bit perkier, so hopefully we've crossed over the midline of his depression and he will get better. But he's a sweetheart too. But he's 12 years old, and he doesn't have long left either, and it just killed me to see him agonize the way he was. But we've just concentrated on giving him a little bit of extra love and few extra milk bones once in a while. So I don't know what else I have to tell you. I will tell you, my daughter and I are thinking, and at the time it's still in the thinking stage, thinking about the possibility of moving into a different house in about a year. All the bedrooms in this house, this is a Cape Cod, and all the bedrooms are upstairs. And we're being realistic. We know that there's going to come a day when I'm not going to be able to climb stairs to go to bed. Right now, I have to go downstairs to the basement to wash clothes and upstairs to my bedroom to go to bed or to get dressed or to take a shower. The bathroom is upstairs. We have a little tiny half bath down here, which is just the toilet and the sink. But, it's a lot of going up and down stairs, and it's not bothering me now. But I have to be realistic and know that the day is going to come when I'm not going to be able to go up and down steps. So we're thinking, since it's me and my daughter, we're thinking of looking for a house that is either a 2-story house with a master bedroom downstairs, master bedroom and bath downstairs, and in the upstairs bedrooms, or a rancher with a split floor plan where there's bedrooms on either side of the rancher. And that's really what I would prefer. And I know God's going to just dump the right house in our laps. And I know it's going to happen. And when the time comes, I know he'll guide me, through the sale of my house when it comes to that. So we've got to start thinking about getting the house ready to sell. There's some things that need to be done. And so we're going to work on that for the next year. So as time goes on, I may not be able to have quite as much time to do my videos, but I'll let you know if it gets to where I'm going to have to stretch them out a little bit more. But that hasn't come yet, and hopefully it won't for a little while. But I think that is about all I have for you today. I'm just looking around. Usually I sit things over here by my chair if I want to talk about them on Friday Frolics, but I haven't done that. There was something, and I was going to do a video, and then decided to wait because I was going to do today, and I thought I'll just wait until Friday. Do I remember what it was? No. But that's okay. Next time I'll write it down and I'll tend to it next Friday. So thank you for watching my Friday Frolics. Join me Monday for another polymer clay tutorial, and I hope to see you again next Friday right here, same time, same channel. So have a great weekend. Bye-bye.